Welcome to the 5-Year You podcast, a show dedicated to helping you become the best version of yourself one day at a time. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Kat, and we promise to keep it raw, real, and relatable.
Are you ready to grow?
High Five Tribe. Do you ever feel that personal growth has somehow become your full-time job? Today's episode is all about when growth feels exhausting. And if you're on a growth journey of any kind, there are going to be moments where you feel like this. With me always is Kat. How you doing today, Kat?
Doing great. How are you, Andrew?
I'm doing great. When we were talking about this idea, we've both gone through some pretty hard growth in the last few years. And the idea of it is a little scary, right? Like
Yeah.
you can really get into it and really feel positive about all the changes that are happening. But I think the part that nobody really talks about with this is how exhausting it can actually be.
Yeah, it really can. I think when people consider going on a personal growth journey, I think the common refrain is, well, it's going to be such a bummer to wake up at 5:30 a.m., but then I'll get used to it and it'll be fine. And for people who are in the trenches of shedding layers of belief systems and altering their own realities, it's like, I wish the biggest problem in this growth journey was waking up at 5:30 a.m., right?
Yeah.
It seems like it's going to be hard but fun, but really what personal growth is a radical dive into self-examination, and that can be a little dark sometimes.
Yeah, it can absolutely be dark. It can also feel, I think we kind of start with the end in mind. And we feel like, oh, I'm going to feel so much better at this. But it's the shedding of the skin that happens in this growth process that can just be so overwhelming at so many different times. And nobody really talks about that. Like, they don't talk about the messy middle. It's like, one day I was sick and dying, and then I changed my thoughts and now I'm healthy. And there was nothing in the middle there. It was just, that 18 months of pure hell we're just going to gloss over. So I think when we look at this stuff, we really have to be a little more honest about growth. And growth is exhausting. That is the nature of it. Like, I've got teenagers, you've got tweens, like they are growing. And if you've had a child, or if you can remember your teens memory still intact and like mine, you can actually enjoy the process of watching them grow. And like, they sleep a lot in their teens because their bodies are like literally growing. And I think that's an easy one to get. Okay, yeah, they're growing, whole new body basically. But when you're growing at an older age, we kind of go like the mental and emotional stuff doesn't always get the same attributes as like the physical.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you actually made an important distinction is we often think about personal growth as though there is an end in mind. I was dying, now I'm healthy. It's over. Or, my kid's going to grow and reach a certain height and it's done. But the truth is that much like eating healthily, right? Somebody might lose a lot of weight and reach their goal weight, but it is the constant becoming of that person. It's continuously embodying being a healthy person. And so growth is never done. We're like, oh, I can't wait till I'm at that end point where I just feel like I'm this best version of myself. It's like you have moments of feeling like the best version of yourself. But then a new challenge comes your way and then you grow some more. Believing that it will be linear or believing that it will have an end point is often what contributes to the burnout of this type of process.
Yeah, I can definitely say that I have fallen into that pitfall, that trap, that quarry. I'm just pulling out different whole examples at this point, but I believe that I believe that that's kind of the hard part for us, right? Because when you're growing up, everything you do has an endpoint, right? Like you're studying for the test, and then at school, then you get that test and you move on, and then you're done grade 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through. Then you get all your things, but there's always that finite endpoint with all of this stuff. When you are looking at growth, I mean, it doesn't end. And you have to really reframe that because we're kind of conditioned to like, no, I get the gold medal once I got the, once I'm healthy, then I can go back to eating cookies every day and, all these terrible things that I used to eat. Once I've done this, then I can go back to the way I was. But it's not like that. It's a process. And that is really how you stop being exhausted is to embrace the fact that it's just a life process.
Exactly. And one thing I've noticed that both of us do, if you don't mind me saying so, is that when the process is not linear, when we have a hard day, when we have a day that we fall apart, it's not just the falling apart that's hard. We beat ourselves up mercilessly for having the audacity to be a human being that day. And it's the judgment we give ourselves like, no, I did all this work. I did all this therapy. I did all this healthy eating. I was the best version of myself. I was doing great. And today's a terrible day. I've reverted. I'm going back to this old version of me. And that's not really true, is it?
You've said it. I don't think you're talking about me in this situation, but I'm
I
just
said
kidding. Yeah,
both of us.
I know. No, no. Yeah, I was just making a joke to lighten it up. I think that when we definitely have those moments, right? It's like the two steps forward, one step back, but that step back is so much more painful
It
because you
is.
just you question it. You wonder if you're regressing. You wonder if the changes you've made are sticking, and they are. And sometimes you have to go back to that old way to go like, yeah, I really don't want to do this anymore. Sometimes like, let's just use the pizza example for me, right? Because that was a good one today. I
I mean, I
had
wasn't
pizza.
going to bring it up, but
Yeah, no,
yeah.
no, we should probably get into that. Yeah, so I had a really rough day yesterday, and we had a Saturday night online day. We live in different countries, so when we're not together, we will have an online date on Saturday night and watch a show, and we get pizza. So I had that, and then Sunday, really hard day. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna get pizza again. It's just been a battle. Catherine supported me, so this is half of her fault. No, I'm just kidding. And then I woke up and I'm like, my joints hurt because I've had terrible food in me for the last 2 days. And while I was probably always inflamed 2 years ago and never realized it, now when I do it, I really, really notice it. And I'm having a hard time making a fist and everything. And so my whole body's inflamed. But that is kind of that point where you go and you're like, okay, one day of pizza is good a week, but 2 days definitely in a row is not feasible. So we have to just adjust. But that's why you have that step back is so you can look at it and go, yeah, I don't want this. I don't want to keep doing this. It seemed like a good idea at the time. And you got to be easier on yourself too, because otherwise you're going to have a hard third day. Then you're going to get pizza again because then you're in a pizza spiral, which is way more tastier than other spirals. But so be it.
So to sum that up, pizza, yes. Pizza times two, no.
That was the lesson of the day, yes. I think there's a hidden pressure too with all of this. I know I feel it, I know you feel it, and we talk about it all the time in private, but I don't think the world as a whole it shares this dark side of growth, the exhaustiveness of it all. So I think when you're trying to become your best self, and we have this with our clients too, where like they'll feel great 1 month and they're just firing all cylinders. And then, they're leveling up, as we would call it. And suddenly all the changes that they made that felt so good are being challenged and they feel like they're falling back a little bit. And that is a big, big part of growth is trying to cement in the new changes. But there's a real big pressure with that.
Yeah, there absolutely is. And the thing is that even professional athletes, like they fall off or they take the summer off and they've got to get back into it. And I've even heard habits experts say like you can miss one day but not two, right? And so I think that we all put so much pressure on ourselves and we come at it with this air of perfectionism and then we beat ourselves up relentlessly and none of us are being like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you today for taking a walk, self. You did so good. But if we miss the walk, ooh, the internal chatter is like, you're so lazy. I can't believe you didn't get out today. Soon it's going to be snowing. You're going to regret this. And like, it's just bad. It's just mean to ourselves. And so I think a big part of the growth journey is just acceptance. Accept that you're a human being. Accept that some days are going to be better than others. Some days you're going to be feeling well. Some days you're going to be sick. Some days that are going to be good and some are going to be rough. And as long as you kind of get back to it, recover quickly, and keep trying to make the choices that are in your best interest for you, for your happiness, for your health, for the people around you who appreciate when you're well rested, have good food in you and nicer and all the good things. I think the journey will go a lot better with a little bit more kindness towards ourselves.
I agree. I think you've been doing something that's been really helpful in your growth journey, and I'm going to share it without your permission. But
It's like, I don't know what that was.
you started writing down everything you did in a day
Oh,
rather
yeah.
than having the to-do list of all the things you had hoped you would do in the day. And I think like you got to the end of your first day of doing that and you felt way better. I mean, we were talking that night and you were glowing because you had shifted your focus to everything you had accomplished
Right.
instead of a to-do list where you would have only focused on the things that you hadn't accomplished. And that was really, really important to just focus on how far you've come, not how far you have to go. You're always like, you are chasing a sunset that you're never catching. So accept that, but take that time to look back. And I really, really like that. I've started doing it too today because I'm just
Yeah.
like, this is so much better. It feels so much better.
Yeah, because I think that while we all have things we need to remember to do, looking at a to-do list, there's just always stuff that's left not crossed out. And sometimes I would just like, if I did something like clean the kitchen, I'd write it down on the to-do list and then cross it out, trying to feel better. But I think I learned this tip on Instagram or something. Like I literally wrote down everything. I wrote like transferred money to savings, like I wrote, mailed a letter, all these little things that I would not ever give myself credit for, but all things that are good and move my life forward 1% or 0.5% or whatever. And I think it was really good because I often beat myself up like, oh, I didn't do enough today. I should have done more work. I should have recorded more videos. I should have done more things. And it's never enough. It's never ending when you have this type of perfectionist personality type. So I'm really glad you brought that up because I do think it'll be helpful for more people, and it's another way to be nicer to yourself.
Yeah, I agree. And that's something I was just saying. I was just thinking as we were talking about this is like, even like that, the reminders to do list, like we have iPhones. Like when you check one, it disappears. So you don't actually see the thing that you're
Yeah,
doing. Like
not satisfying at
it's
all.
not, it isn't. It's like you don't get to look back. I know there's a setting where you can show what you've done, but I think just that shift of focus will take the pressure of growth quite a bit because you start to see how much you've actually done. Another thing that people kind of get exhausted with is the comparison trap.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you can talk about that first because, it's really hard. It's a hard
It
one, isn't
is.
it?
It is. And of course, in the age of social media, we've talked about this many times on this podcast, but it's never been easier to compare yourself to other people. Where once your parents would just have to look and see the new neighbors getting a new car, now we have an inside scoop to every single highlight reel inside of people's homes, inside of what their families are doing. And it's all very glossy and it can make you feel really bad about yourself. So it's really important to focus on your own journey and realize that people have very different starting places. People have different life experiences, different jobs. Some people are the beneficiaries of multi-generational family wealth, and some people are the first in their families to ever have a solid paycheck. We all come from different places, and some people have certain health issues that make it hard for them to work out, and other people seem to just be born with muscles, like it. We all have what I call is a different deck of cards, and chances are there's something in your deck of cards that someone else would really like to have, but all of us can only deal with our deck. That's what we've chosen, or that's what we've been given in this lifetime. And judging yourself by someone else's accomplishments is literally never going to make you feel better.
Never once has it ever worked. I mean, you always are looking at everything that they have that you don't. And that's where, again, having gratitude for what you have and being reflective on your journey and what you've done is far more beneficial to you than to look at what somebody else has done at your age and think, oh, I'm so far behind. I haven't done that, been there, accomplished that. So when we are getting into that comparison trap, the first thing you need to do is just kind of reflect on yourself and like, kind of stop that troll in your head that's berating you and go, no, like look at this. You went walking today. You have come so much further than you ever imagined in the last couple of years. You've done this, you've done that. And the more you start doing that, the more you start being your own cheerleader in your head, the easier it gets. You've just got to train your brain a little bit more to be nicer to yourself.
There's some things you can do, right? Because some people who might be feeling a bit run down or burned out, it might be time to switch things up. It might be time. So if you're not like getting joy out of the things that you used to like to do, it might be time to switch to yoga if running is not doing it for you. It might be time to change your wake up time or the types of books you read. Like if you feel run down from the personal growth journey, it's okay to switch things up a little.
Yeah, exactly. I like to think of it as eating a meal, right? When it comes to personal growth, there's that phase where you consume. You're like, I'm really interested in journaling, so I'm gonna research all the different types of journaling. I'm gonna follow journalers on Instagram, and I'm gonna buy a journal, and I'm gonna do this and everything else. And you kind of take in a whole bunch of information, but then there is a point where you have to let that kind of settle and digest it all. Then once you've digested it, you find out what the right path is for you with journaling, as this example. And then you might actually get to a place where you don't like journaling. And that's where you kind of start the next process of doing it. Or you just go, you know what, I'm not feeling it right now. Trying to be 100% with something every day, all the time is really, really hard. And I think that's where most of us trip up with the challenge of like trying to do that streak. I mean, some streaks are really easy, but you got to be kind to yourself. It's some days you're just not going to be able to do it. That's the reality.
Exactly. Yeah. I think the overall message to this entire show is that if you've been on a growth journey and you find yourself getting burnt out or it's feeling harder for you, you're not alone. It's it's not a pie eating competition, which is just yummy. You know what I mean? Like some days are going to be hard. Some days maybe you start therapy for the first time and you cry for the rest of the day that day and you feel terrible. But there's highs and lows with it. And I think as long as you also build self-compassion into the journey, it's worthwhile.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was really well said. So, some signs that you might be burnt out in the growth journey. Fatigue is usually the first one that kind of comes up. It's that I can't do it anymore. You're just beat. You're exhausted. And I can honestly say, I think I've been feeling that a little bit more lately. Is just there, it's been a year of binging on a lot of stuff. And I'm like, okay, I need to digest it all and see what works and what doesn't. But that fatigue is like your body just screaming out, "We need a break."
Yeah.
Even if you're a runner, you can't run a marathon every day and expect to be okay. You need to take those pauses and heal. Otherwise, you're gonna burn out.
Yeah, I like that. And I think that's a really good analogy. So congratulations to you.
Yes.
I think that people see fatigue as a negative, as something that's wrong with them, but it's okay to take a pause and take a break. It's okay to allow yourself to rest. No matter how many times we scream this from the rooftops, we live in a society that does not value rest. In North America, our culture is to completely work yourself to the bone. Our culture is the person who pushes the hardest, who doesn't ever give up, who doesn't quit is the winner, and all riches will bestow upon them. And what we believe now, after subscribing to that and working really hard and burning out ourselves, is that it just doesn't make life enjoyable. Like, what's the point? And so, if you can build in the rest to your day, if you can build in the quiet practices, I think that is the biggest self improvement journey you can go on. And if you are competitive with other people and are trying to, enjoy life more or get an edge in, people don't rest enough. And by allowing yourself to rest, you're basically recharging your battery pack for the next day. And we're not talking about huge long naps, although if your body needs it, go for it. We're talking about quiet moments and 10-minute meditations and lying in your bed for 10 minutes in the morning and thinking of everything you're grateful for. Just building in that rest to your day if you're feeling burned out, is one way to overcome those tired, fatigued feelings.
I'm glad you touched on that because that was one of the big emotional signs, right? Is like guilt when resting and loss of joy
Yeah.
in the practice. I think, this society that we live in is so hyper focused on production and always doing something. And then there's the expression, if you're not growing, you're dying, added
Mhm.
on to this whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's true in one sense, but the bigger thing is that, everything takes time to germinate. You need that rest. That is a natural part of life. You look at, seeds being planted, they don't just shoot out right away. They grow, they have their season. All plants and flowers have their time for blooming and their time for rest and their time for regrowth. You are not any different than that. You have seasons when it comes to this. And when you can acknowledge the season that you're in, the better it is for you because you can relax guilt free. And that's really what we want, right? We want to go, okay, I need to rest now. I'm in a resting season, and that is okay.
Yeah, if you guys want to know how sweet Andrew is, I was telling him that I gained a few pounds, and his response was, "That's okay, Catherine. It's getting to the cooler weather, and your body is just hibernating, and it might be storing stuff for the winter, and that's a natural biological process." I'm like, "That's right. I am a bear, okay? I have eaten and I have stored
Wow.
stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's me. I'm the mama bear and I'm hibernating." And he was just very sweet about it. But you reminded me, I was like, you know what? We go through these cycles too. And that our world, because of industrialization, we now can operate 24/7. And so, whereas before it'd be like quiet and candlelight and nighttime, now it's like, keep working, even though you're freezing, don't hibernate.
Wow. So you took what I said very differently than how I intended it, which is definitely been.
It's sweet. It was
I
good.
never called you a bear or anything
No.
like that.
No, I'm
All I
saying I'm a bear.
Okay,
I'm hibernating.
fair enough. I just, we don't need emails saying like, I can't believe you said that to her. I'm like, what
No,
I,
no,
what,
he just said it was okay to hibernate and that
there's a season for it. And right now we're going into winter, and winter is typically when, you know, uh, for safety purposes, our physiology tends to add a
yeah.
few pounds for safety reasons.
I am so safe right now. It's great.
You look fantastic. You are really
Thank
hard on
you.
yourself, and it is what you see is not what I see, or I can't speak for anyone else, but you look beautiful. And
Thank you,
I
honey.
think that you are being extra hard on yourself. And the only reason why I know that is because I have been extra hard on myself with the same thing right now, with the
Yeah.
same wintertime approach.
Well, honey, that's okay. It's just a natural biological process, and you're probably you're probably just storing things for the winter time because you live in Canada. It's really cold there. So
It
that's all
is.
right. It's come spring, you will shed and it will be beautiful.
So that's what it's like when you get your own advice given to you. It doesn't feel super
It's
great.
good. I don't see anything bad with it. I guess I'm just trying to illustrate to people that if you feel more tired this time of year, it's part of the natural biological process of us being people. And unfortunately, it coincides with vast consumerism of the holidays and Christmas and all this stuff too. So exactly when you feel like resting is when the entire society revs up.
Yeah.
And, so it's okay to feel exhausted this time of year. That makes
Especially like,
sense.
yeah, I mean, it's darker out earlier and later, and it just less vitamin D. There's a lot of things that contribute to us feeling exhausted. And who decided to put everything at the end of the year is, I mean, Christmas in
Thumbs down.
July, August would have been way, way
Yeah,
nicer.
truth.
Anyway, so when growth feels exhausted, uh, or exhausting, it's okay. It's a part of the process. It's a part of your journey. And it's really important that you honor that process and give yourself permission to rest, to recharge, to rejuvenate, to digest. These are all natural processes in the growth cycle that nobody seems to want to talk about because we just want to talk about the start and the result. But that messy middle has a lot of these factors in it. And the more you can give yourself permission to rest, the faster you'll actually grow, which sounds really counterintuitive, but it is actually how it works.
We've seen it in action, and we encourage you guys to be kind to yourself.
Love that. So it's time for our glimmers now. Catherine, what is your glimmer this week? What's the little thing that's making you happy, lighting you up?
Yeah, speaking of seasons, I mean, these podcasts are evergreen, but at the time of this recording, it is fall in Chicago. And this morning I walked outside to mail a letter, and it's just about the prettiest day I have seen all year. I'm going to take a nice long walk today, but there's not a cloud in the sky, full sun out, but it's like cool and the leaves are falling, and it's absolutely gorgeous out there today. And so I definitely want to take advantage of it.
I love that. I love that. This time of year when the fall colors and just the Christmas of the air, it's really, really, really
Yeah, it's
nice.
my
I love
favorite
that.
season for sure. What about you?
You know what? I'm really liking the Netflix show that we started this weekend.
Yeah, it's super
It's so
cute.
good. Yeah. And I think it's called Nobody Wants This. Did I
Yeah,
get it right? Okay,
I think
yeah.
so.
It's really good. I'm happy watching it. It's a little rom-com series. If you haven't started watching it, give it a go. And if you're going, wow, that's already been on for a year. Well, we're slow to things sometimes.
Okay, give us a break.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you next time.
Hey guys, quick disclaimer. We're podcasters on the internet. If you need to seek professional help, please go see your healthcare professional.